So only the architecture and how to download MySQL file. We have seen we can download MySQL from the official portal. So after installing how MySQL Workbench will look like, and we have seen what are the code operations, how exactly the database is available to us. So since we are discussing about MySQL database, for any database, this is the architecture or the structure. It'll have a database and it has schema. Under schema, you will have some tables. Under tables, you will have rows, columns, index, and other values like functions, stored procedures. But we are worried only about rows, columns, tables, and schemas now. Because we're not going in detail for database. And also we have seen what are CRUD operations like inserting, selecting the query, rows from the table, updating a row, and removing a row or deleting a row from the table. So in MySQL Workbench, we have done some examples for this CRUD operations. So these are the queries. So for creating a table, this is the query, and syntax we have seen how to create. So if you want to quickly create tables, MySQL Workbench is a user interface where it will allow to create tables through user interface. But for the initial starters, I would recommend you to write queries on your own so that you will be aware with the SQL language as well. So these are the queries for creating a table. Create table, table name, and what is the field of the column name, and what type of the column is it? Is it integer, varchar, double boolean, character, whatever the data type is? So you can specify the data type and length. And we are specifying it should be not null. Not null means you cannot leave the column blank or empty during the insertion of data to the particular table. So then we have added one more table, feature underscore name. So basically we created a schema called Cucumber. Under Cucumber, we created a table called Cucumber features. So under Cucumber feature table, we have some fields like feature ID, feature name, feature description. So the main idea is to work with database. Also, we will be aware like what is scenario and what is scenario description, outlines, doc strings like this. So that's where I selected this particular table. If you are working on a particular application, you can create on your application specific data tables and you can practice on your own. Yeah, I will share this SQL schema file. So you can export the schema file. Let's say you have created the schema Cucumber, then you have created a table, then you have created multiple columns, you have inserted some rows, right? So to create this, you can directly export these tables into a SQL file. You can just go to the server, export to self-contained file. So here you can specify in which location you want to export this particular SQL file. This will dump all your SQL queries which is related to that particular schema. Now select the schema which you want to dump. So Cucumber is our schema. Then start exporting. So you can, if you know errors are available, you can just go and check here for SQL dump SQL file. So here is the file. So you can open with Notepad++. So this will show you the queries like creating a table. This is a query, and inserting it rows. These are the queries like this. Clear, guys? So any queries in MySQL in the CRUD operations, basically to create, delete, update, and altering a table. So this is what we have seen in our yesterday's session. So any queries before we see how this MySQL will be updated through Java code in the backend? Are you clear with the MySQL database? So if no queries, let me discuss on JDBC. So yesterday we have seen how to work with MySQL workbench, writing a queries to creating a table, to creating a column names, altering the columns. Then you are working with the data, updating the data and removing the data. So when you're working with a dynamic application, let's say a simple registration like Facebook registration itself. So this Facebook registration, when we are doing this update, sorry. So when you're doing this update operation, when you're doing the registration of the Facebook query, so then how exactly this will affect? How exactly the database is hitting in the background without manually writing. So let's see that how we are going to work with this JDBC now. Let's say we are entering here the usernames, password as in our automation script here. Then we are clicking a sign up button. Then Facebook will have user details table here where it will capture first name, surname, mobile name, password, date of birth, everything, all the details which is related to user here. Then automatically it will have some different tables like what post he has done, something like that. So no one will come and write queries backend because a lot of Facebook users will be there, right? So there should be some application which is running in the front end so that this application data will be collected to service layer, which is nothing but Java code, and this Java code will push it to database. Clear? Now let's see how it works. So we have a Java application here which will collect the information from front end. Now the JDBC API will be available. Suppose, for example, if you're using MySQL server, so you can directly fetch out the JDBC driver and you can establish a connection and work with MySQL server. Suppose if you're working with a different database like Oracle, you can download Oracle driver and work with the Oracle driver on database. So there are quickly some couple of steps to establish JDBC connection. Let me write in the paint here. So to establish JDBC connection, so these are the steps that we need to follow. Once the connection is established, then we have some internal classes. So first step is you need to declare your driver class. In Selenium, we have WebDriver, right? Similarly, for the WebDriver will be run by ChromeDriver.exe. Here, this driver class will be run by the driver database driver what you are using. Then you need to give the connection URL. So which database you need to connect. So DB connection URL you need to provide. Then the third one is you need to provide what is the username here. So what is the username for your database? I have given here root. And what is the password that you are provided for your database? I have given root 123. So clear? So if you're using MySQL as your server, your driver class will be com.mysql.jdbc driver. Driver. Clear? So this will be your driver class if you're using MySQL driver. Now we are telling what is driver, right? MySQL driver. So this is nothing but you can directly go to official portal of MySQL here. MySQL driver JDBC download. So just give a search string. So here you can see downloads of MySQL connector. So click on this particular link. So now you select what is the operating system you want to select. Select on platform independent. Now it will show you two things. One is star. Suppose if you're working with a Linux or Mac operating system, you can download the above one. Since we are working with the Windows, let me download this and extract. So then say no, don't sign up. You can just directly download by clicking on this anchor link. So your MySQL connector jar has been downloaded. So just add this jar to your build path. So just go to downloads. So I have already downloaded this one, MySQL connector jar. So extract all. Once you extract, you will get a jar file. So copy the jar file and you can paste in your library folder. Let's say I have used a property file demo project. Let me rename this project as DB also. Okay, I'll share this workspace, guys, so that this will helpful for you people. So now I have copy pasted this extracted file here, which is extracted already. So add to build path. So how do you add to build path, guys? Here, a normal jar file. How do you add to build path? So you can directly right click here. Once it's in your same project level, click on build path and you can click on add to build path. So then you can check out whether it is actually added to your build path or not here. Once it is added to build path, then you can select your jar files like this. Okay. So this is your jar file, guys. So this is what I have copied. So you have just downloaded MySQL connector jar and you have added to your build path. Clear? So that is the only jar which is required for you to perform your CRUD operations to database. So any queries till here, guys? So we have created very simple Java project. We have a library folder where already Selenium jars were there. Now I have added one more jar, MySQL connector here. Once we add MySQL connector, means your driver class is available. This driver class com.mysql driver, mysql.jdbc.driver. So this class is available in this particular jar file, the jar file which we have added now. Clear? Now what exactly this driver class will contain? So this driver class will contain some classes like, let me write here, statement class, statement, prepared statement, result set. So then we have connection class, then you have driver manager. So like this, you will have different classes and interfaces. So which will help you to work, which will help you to interact with your database from backend and provide in the form of Java code. Okay. So these are the major classes which are available here. So we will see one by one during our CRUD operations here. So statement, prepared statement, result set, connection, driver manager class. So to establish a proper JDBC connection to our database, so what was the first step, guys? First step is we need to initialize the driver class. So you will initialize your driver class with, let me write a class here. Let me create a new package. So let me create a new class here. Let me create a main method. Okay. So the first step is driver class. So you can initialize your driver with com.mysql.driver. So this is the value. So class.forName. So you can write like this, class.forName. And what is the class name? The class name is this one. So this is the string. So driver class is the class which is available in this MySQL jar file, this MySQL connector jar file, to provide these facilities to interact with our actual database, which is either it is MySQL or Oracle. So since we are using MySQL here, we are interacting with MySQL database, MySQL driver. If it is Oracle, your Oracle class will be something like jdbc.odbc, like this, odbc dot some driver. So I don't exactly remember this one. So this is the key for your Oracle driver. So for your MySQL driver, sorry, like this. So for your MySQL driver, this is the key. For your Oracle driver, this is the key. But you need to use Oracle jar instead of using MySQL jar. So that is the only change when you are changing your database to Oracle, or if you're using MongoDB, you need to put MongoDB jars and you need to initialize your class as per MongoDB. So clear, guys, what is this driver class? So the driver class is the class which will instantiate the connection of your driver manager. Now let's see what is driver manager. Okay, so just specify this string here. com.mysql. It's jdbc.driver. So this is the class. So this class will be the driver initialization of your MySQL driver. So let me surround with try catch. Okay. So now our first step is done. First step is driver class initialization. So what is the next step? So we need to instantiate a connection URL. So for that, as I told, in this jar file is containing some classes here. So this connection, it is in java.sql package. Let me show you that one after declaration. So connection is the class, sorry, interface. So this connection, so just give some name here, instance name, driver manager dot get connection. Here you have three parameters which need to pass: URL, username, and password. If you see here, you need to know what is the URL that you are going to use for your database, and what is the password, and what is the username. So let's declare three strings here. String URL equal to username and string password. Okay. So your URL will be, since I have I'm installed this MySQL server in my local system. I'll just give as localhost. So your URL will start like this. So localhost colon. You can see on which particular port number it is running. So if you see here, it's 127.0.0.1 is nothing but your local host, and 3306 is the port where my MySQL server is running. So just provide the port number 3306, and what is the schema that I want to work here. So Cucumber is our schema name. So just provide the schema name as Cucumber. So this is your URL. So JDBC colon MySQL, and where exactly you are running your MySQL server. Since I am running in local, I have specified localhost here. And what is the port number that we are using here? So you can verify the port number. If you want to change the port number during installation time, you can change, or you can go to settings and you can change your port number. So what is the schema name that we are using for this particular connection? So this is your URL string. Guys, can you please confirm if you are able to hear me? Yes. Okay. Sorry. So just give me a sec, guys. I have got an important call. Sorry for this. Yeah. Sorry, guys. So can you please confirm if you are able to hear me? Yeah. Sorry for the inconvenience. So you need to create your URL string, and what is the username that you are using. So my username is root, and my password is root123. So this username and password you can set up during your installation time. Okay. So let me provide my username here as root and password as root123. Okay. So you need to start a connection. Just provide instance of your connection, instance name, and driver manager is a class which is in a java.sql package. So all the classes what I told here, like statement, prepare statement, result set, connection, driver manager, and some other classes which we were able to see in our in the next demo. So these are the classes which are available in Java SQL package. So if you see the imports here, it's from Java SQL package. So this Java SQL package is from MySQL connector jar. So if you remove this jar from the build path, so then you will face these import issues. So now you got an idea, right? How exactly we are able to communicate with MySQL server, because we have a MySQL connector jar which will allow us to provide the URL. URL will contain where my MySQL server is available and which schema I am working on and what is the username and password, so that I can establish a successful connection by providing all those. So just provide this username and password. Yeah. So surround with a SQL exception class. So once your connection is established, so then let's say we want to perform a select operation. So your select operation will use a statement. Let me write this one. Statement interface. So guys, make sure that you import a proper statement from a proper thing, guys, because there are a lot of statement classes and interfaces from other packages as well. So java.sql is our target import. So import this statement from java.sql. Statement. So you need to pass the connection dot create statement. Then write your query here. String query equal to. So if you see our select query, so let's do first for select. So we have not written for select, right? So let's write a query. Use Cucumber. Select start from Cucumber underscore features. So this is the query which is used for select. So copy this query and create a query string here. Select query. Now the next step is, once you file this query, what you are returning, you are getting 3 rows has written. 3 rows has been written. So you need to handle this result of all the columns names with actual data, right? So they have given a class here called result set. So in result set, declare the result set here. So the interface result set. Then use this statement, the execution statement instance, to fire this result set. To execute, so you will have a lot of execute commands. So just use execute query and pass this SQL query which you have written. Clear? So I will again explain step by step, guys. So let's write what are the steps for select operation first. So once you get your result query, so you need to check whether the result query is empty or not, right? So for that, you can use a while loop. So result query has next. Result query is not empty. Result query has next. Sorry, result query next. Result set dot next. And here you can check out whether it is printing your database tables or not. So first one is, so this is the integer, this is varchar, and this is varchar. So you can take this feature ID, so copy this particular field name, or you can have index also. So this is index of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there are 4 indexes for this particular columns, or you can get with feature field name as well. So result set dot get integer. So here you can specify either column index or column name. So for now, I will recommend you people to use the column name as well, column name only, so that it will not face any issues. Okay. So then we'll separate it out with a semicolon. Then again, result set dot. The second column is string. So give the column name here. Copy this and provide in the string. And third one is feature description. Rs dot get string of, pass the column name here, and let's not worry about flag field. So let's see whether these fields will be printed or not. And after this, you need to, since you have opened the connection, you need to close the connection as well. Clear? So if you see here, to establish a successful connection with JDBC, you need to follow these 4 steps. One is, first you need to declare the driver class. So your since you are using MySQL database, your driver class will be com.mysql.jdbc.driver. So that is done here. So class.forName, and you have passed the driver class. The second step is connection URL. You need to create a connection URL and pass the username and pass the password. So you have created a connection here, and your driver manager is getting connection by passing the URL, username, and password. Suppose if your password is wrong, you'll get an SQL exception saying that your particular username or password is not able to communicate with the database. Okay. So this is how a connection will be established. So you can check here, if connection is not null, then you can say your connection is successfully established. Here you can check connection dot, sorry. So you can, if your connection is not empty, then you can perform your select operations or whatever the operations that you are going to do. So if connection is not null, let's say database connection is successful. Okay. So let's execute this code, this one, and check. Let's comment this part, select operation part, and check whether the connection to database is successfully established or not. Or let's write a else loop as well. So, fail to connect DB. So you can see in the stack trace what are the issues. So now the database connection is success. So for establishing a proper connection, so we have followed these particular steps. Clear? So any queries in creating a connection with Java, guys? So it's a very simple, just 2 lines of Java code. And the only thing is you need to understand how exactly the connection is established and how the communication is happening. That's why I am telling in detail. So any queries here in these 2 lines of code? So just we have downloaded MySQL connector.jar. You have added to build path. The setup is done. Now we can write Java code to communicate with your database. Now, in your connection, you need three parameters. One is URL, one is username, and one is password. Since we have installed MySQL server in your local machine, you have passed to localhost, and you have you're running MySQL server on 3306 port, and the schema which we are using is Cucumber. Is the schema which we have created yesterday. So username and password is root and root123. Okay. So the first step is we are declaring driver class initialization. The second step is we are creating a connection to database with all the parameters. So any queries till here? Are you clear with this? So now we can check if the database connection is not null. Then we are printing database connection is successful. Now we can perform our operations. Okay, now let's see how the select operation will work here. For select operation, we need a statement. So statement is an interface in Java SQL package, and result set is also an interface. So we will use the statement, and we are using the connection which is already established, and we are creating a statement for that particular connection. And this is the query which is used to pull our values from the database. Select star from a particular table name. Now this will return some rows. We don't know how many rows it will return, right? It's a dynamic data which is coming from database. Suppose there are 3 rows, 300 rows, 3000 rows. That we don't know. So what we are doing, we are taking that control into a result set interface. So this result set interface will have capability to fetch your data in the form of data type which you need. You can fetch in integer, you can fetch in string, whatever it is. Based on your data type, you can fetch your data type rs.get, and you are printing it in our console. I'm just putting it here now. So here you can see rs.next. So rs.next means it is checking whether if I am having next row values, if next row values is not available, then it will come out of the while loop, and it will close the connection, and it will do this work. So this is a very simple steps for connection select operation which is required to write in the Java. Declaring a statement with a connection instance, and writing a query into a query string. Once your query string and statements are ready, then declare result set. Result set is nothing but you are storing your database values. If 3 rows is returning, the 3 rows you are handling into a result set instance or else. So use the statement and execute the query. So for after statement, you will have some execute queries like execute SQL queries in auto-generated keys. So a lot of options are available. For now, for a just select query, so this method is used. Statement dot execute query, and pass the SQL query which is used to pull the data. Okay. So then we are checking whether result set is having any other elements in a while loop, and we are printing the future ID, future name, future description separated with a semicolon. So clear, guys, for the select operation. So let's execute this select operation and see how it goes. Yeah. So if you see here, it has printed the values from database. So 1, 2, 3, and this is the scenario feature name, scenario outline. So instead of semicolon, let me put like this for better understanding. Okay. So if you see here, this is the future ID, future name, and future description. So it is returning all the values which are available in our database. Let's say we want based on some conditions here, where conditions. Let's write here like where future ID is 3. Here. So how does the code handle now here? What are the major changes? What we need to do here? So we are printing all the rows in the table. We have written this code with a simple query result set, and we are printing that result set. If you are adding a condition here, so we just need to change the query what condition you are using there, and file it with MySQL, so that now what is our actual output? It should come. It should return only this particular row. Okay. So let's execute this one. Now if you see here, only this particular row based on the condition it is returning. Clear, guys? So this is for select operation. Similarly, we can perform insert operations, delete operations, update operations. So a bit one or two lines will change here. Instead of select statement, you'll use prepare statement, and instead of getting a result set, you will use some integer like that. So since it is select query, it is returning multiple rows, right? It is returning multiple rows. That's why you're using result set. Suppose if it is update or delete or insert query, what will you will get here? You will get number of rows affected. Correct? Now here number of rows returned. So when it is returning, you should be able to take that rows. Now the next step is when you're doing it in insert or update or delete operations, some number of rows will be affected. So you will get a count, integer count of how many rows it is affected, either 1 or 2 or 3 like that. So you need to check, print that integer and check whether that insert is successful or not. Clear? Now let's rename this class as select example. So I'll clone this class and create for insert. Insert example. Now, so what are the changes? So till connection, it is same. So we need a connection, active connection to work with database, correct? Now after that, instead of select operation, so we need to, sorry, we are changing the select one. Yeah. So after select operation, instead of select, we need to write insert into database. So for this, let's generate your query first. Insert query. Insert query. So let's remove this now. So what is the SQL query for insert? So let's refer our yesterday's what we have written. So this is the query for insert. So let's fire this query with the different values and check if it's firing here or not. So can someone name any other features in Cucumber or Cucumber Runner class other than scenario outline and docstring? So any other feature or any other topic that you know in Cucumber, guys, which we have discussed in our earlier sessions? Or you can tell some of the runner class options as well. So tags, yeah. So why tags are used? So tags will identify particular scenario or particular scenario scenario outline or a feature. Clear? So tags is one of the things where we are giving annotations in a feature file to identify particular scenario outline and feature. Good, Ninath. So let's find this query. And what it is written, guys, it written one row affected. So what it is written, it is returning integer saying that how many rows has been affected. Okay. So now if we check this row, so this is the way how it is updated. So we have not added Y for flag. Okay. So copy this insert query. So this query is working fine right here. So let's use the same query in Eclipse. Paste it here. So you have your insert query ready. Then pass your insert query into this particular one. Now you will not get result set here. So instead of result set, you need to take this into an integer. Int result equal to. So if you notice here, we are hard coding the values here, guys. Correct? So for tags, this one is a hard coded one. So whenever you are executing this program, you will not execute or you will not always insert this particular row, right? So you need to change these values dynamically. So what you need to do is, if how many rows are available, that many question marks you put in the query. So for future ID one question mark, future name one question mark, future description one question mark, and flag one question mark. Correct? Yeah. So we need to create a, instead of statement, we need to use prepared statement. Prepared statement. So connection dot prepared statement and pass the insert query here. So take the result later. So now what is prepared statement here? So here you have passed your values index question mark. So these question marks should be filled before inserting into database. So whatever you write in Java code doesn't matter for MySQL server, but your MySQL server should get a query in this manner so that the values will be inserted into database. So what your MySQL connector is doing is it's giving an interface prepared statement. Hey, you just give the question marks in the query. Now you can prepare your question marks with prepared statement. Now use this speech statement instance variable dot set string. Suppose if your column is integer here in your table, set integer. If your column is string, set string, or if you whatever the data type, based on data type, it will have some methods here. Set string, set integer, like set array, like this. So first one is what exactly we need to set? Set integer, and parameter index is nothing but which particular column index. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4. So future ID is 1, and what is the value that you are going to set here? So this value you can pass here dynamically. Since it is integer, pass directly 1 here. So if you pass 1, will it accept, guys, in the insert statement? If you pass 1 with here, will it accept? Can you tell why, Pallavi? So yeah, so since future ID is primary key, only one value, unique values you need to have in this particular column. So after 4, we can give a value of 5 here, so that you will not get any primary key SQL exceptions. Similarly, you set for other question marks. If you are placing 4 question marks, you need to prepare your statement for 4 parameters. So then P statement dot set. What is the second data type here? String. So what is the parameter index? It's 2. Second one is the future name. So can someone name any other future? So someone named dry run. Okay. Dry run. So what is the description of dry run, guys? Similarly, set for the third one, description. Fourth one is flag. Okay. So dry run enables the trigger point to generate or execute the feature files. Correct? Yeah, correct, Sally. But to be more specific, more generic, it'll just enable the trigger point either to generate glue code or to execute the actual step definition based on feature files. Okay. Now, similarly, prepare fourth question mark statement here. Pause the index value as 4, and let's say the flag is enabled. Clear? So this is the way you create your prepare statement. Once your prepare statement is done, then what is the next step? So you need to fire this query, and you need to handle the result in your particular result integer variable, whatever it is. Correct? So now we have created prepare statement. So now use this prepare statement and execute the query. Here, while you are inserting the data, since you have already inserted this query into prepare statement instance, now just what you need to do is just perform execute update operation. So this will automatically fire this one. Let's remove this, and we can print your result and check how many rows has been affected here. Okay, number of rows affected after database operation. Pause this result and print it. So quick recap on how to prepare for an insert query. So write your query as it is. Instead of hard coding the values, provide question marks here. So these question marks should be dynamically set here. So that's why MySQL connector has provided you an interface called prepare statement. You can prepare your statement here. So this is your statement, right? So give question marks. 4 question marks you have given as per your 4 data table columns here. So prepare your question marks with like this. Suppose if your column is integer, prepare statement dot set integer, and what is the index? So this is the column index in your particular database table. Its feature ID or feature name, feature description. These 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So now we have 4 column names. Provide your column name as per the column index here, and what is the value you need to dynamically pass for your database. So like once your prepare statement is ready, then since already we have pushed this query into prepare statement, the only thing is you need to update this prepare statement and get the result into an integer. If you see our database queries here, select will return number of rows, whereas the operation like insert or update will show how many rows it has been affected. So one row it has been affected after inserting the query, this one 4th line. Now we have written for a 5th line of the query. Let's execute through Java code and check this. So number of rows affected from database is 1. So you can check whether this particular 5th row dry run feature is inserted into database table or not. So if you see here, the 5th row is added. Now this is completely added from the Java code. So any queries in inserting into database, guys? So do you want me to repeat this insert? Okay. So any queries in insert? So all you need to do is, since you are inserting some values, you need to just use prepare statement and prepare your state of your query based on your parameters, how many it is available. Then you need to update this prepare statement and take the output into an integer. Okay. Now let's take a quick break for 5 minutes, and we will see on the other 2 CRUD operations. So what are the other 2 CRUD operations remaining, guys? So we have seen read, select is done, delete and update. So we will see the delete and update post break. Is that fine? Yeah. Okay. Guys, let's resume the session. Okay. So the next operation in the CRUD is update. Let me clone this insert class and create for update. So till connection, it is required for us, right? So post connection, so insert and update will have a very bit differences. So here also we will have prepared statement, but you will not write for all the things, right? So let's first check what is the update query here. Copy this update query, which we have written in yesterday's session. Execute here. So now in this Cucumber feature file, under Cucumber features, we are setting feature description into a different updates. Let's say updated feature description. Where feature ID is 2. So now for this particular feature will be replaced with this one. So that is our target, right? So after firing this query, you have SQL error. Okay. So clear this one. Yeah. So one row has been affected. So if we just now check the table, so it has been updated scenario outline description as updated feature description. Let's use this same update query and update this for dry run as well. Now if you see the dry run here, the feature description of dry run is something different. Now let's update with the same message here. So copy this update query. What is the first step? So we need to generate a query. So update query will be this one. So once the update query is done, so just paste like this. Now if you see here, future ID, you are hard coding again. So what exactly we need to do? We need to use for one thing prepare statement. Can you use prepare statement for one parameter? Yes. So you can use prepare statement for one parameter also. So just instead of passing the value, just place a question mark here and set this one. So what is future ID? It is an integer type. So use set integer method. And what for which row you need to update. So the fifth row here is dry run. Okay, so 2 is already updated here. Let's change the message then. Let's make it as 2 and change our actual message here. Why scenario outline is used, guys? To handle data tables with examples. Clear? Yeah. So this should be updated in our database after this query. So you can use update, execute update as well, even for the update query. And just check how many rows has been affected after this one. So it has totally affected one row after the execution of this particular query. Now let's go back to our database, refresh this and check how many rows are available. Fire this again. So to handle database tables with examples. So the feature description for this particular second feature is updated, right? So if you are adding two conditions, let's say where feature ID equal to this one and feature name equal to and feature underscore name equal to, what is the feature name here? Scenario outline. Sorry. Scenario outline is the value. So just give question mark here. Now set prepare statement for your update query here. What data type I need to use here, guys? For future name, what data type I need to use to set my prepare statement? It's a string because it's holding varchar data type in database. So in Java, it is string. So set string of parameter index is, which question mark is this one? The second question mark. And what is the value that you are going to set here? So scenario outline, correct? So for second row, where feature ID is equal to 2 and feature name equal to scenario outline, you need to set the feature description like this. Scenario outline is used to handle. Okay. So this is what we need to set. So let's execute this one. Now one row is updated. Just check this row whether it has been updated, right? Now scenario outline is used. So now we have used two conditions. One is where feature ID is equal to 2 and feature name is equal to scenario outline. Clear? Let's say if you are giving some wrong, it will throw an SQL exception. Let's say instead of scenario outline, just pass scenario. Now it should not update any rows, right? Because the condition is failed here. So the where condition is failed here, where feature ID is equal to 2. Second feature ID is scenario outline, but we are providing scenario here. So the condition should fail. And you need to get a SQL exception or 0. So the rows, it's not updated any row because it is scenario outline. The condition has been failed and no results has been returned here. Clear, guys? So do you need to repeat on updating rows in data table? Okay, all clear? So others, Ninad, Saili, yeah. What is next? So delete operation. As I told, normally we will be not doing delete operation in other applications. So we will update just the flag operations. Since we already know how to update column names, let's see actual delete operation with here. Let me clone this class. Guys, I'll share this complete workspace to you. You can install MySQL server. Even I'll share this SQL file to you. Import this SQL file, create this complete setup in your local machine, execute this Java programs, and play around with this, guys, so that you will have a better hands-on experience with your JDBC MySQL. So delete example. So what exactly I need to use here for delete? So delete query I need to use first thing. So where is my delete query? So delete from Cucumber features where feature ID is equal to 3. Now how many prepare statements I need to set here? only one prepare statement because we have only one condition and one parameter which is to be set dynamically. So pass this delete query into your update query prepare statement instance. Remove the second one. The first one will be, let's delete dry run here, dry run feature. The fifth one will delete and we'll check it. Then execute this one. And check how many rows has been affected. So it shows one row has been affected. So now fire this SQL query and check fifth row is removed from database. Clear, guys? So any queries in deleting a query here? So do you need any repetition for delete query? So you are just selecting, you're preparing delete query here. So you no need to pause semicolon, it's not mandatory. So delete from the table where you are passing which future ID row you need to delete. So then you are preparing, since we have one parameter to set, which is a type of integer, you are setting a prepare statement here. And we are executing that particular prepared statement. You are updating the prepare statement, execute update. We are capturing the result into integer and printing this, how many rows has been affected. Clear, guys? Are you clear with CRUD operations? Create is nothing but in creating a rows, which is insert. Then update we have seen, delete we have seen, read is nothing but your set operations. So this is how you will handle CRUD operations from Java code to your MySQL database or Oracle database, whatever it is. So there will be no major SQL query syntax changes between MySQL and Oracle, guys. So almost 80 to 90% queries are almost same. Only some few data types and variables will be getting changed dynamically. Okay. So you can try for Oracle also. So due to the time limitation, since we need to get into mobile automation testing, I couldn't spend more time on database. So you can download MySQL Oracle, and instead of MySQL jar, download ODBC JDBC jar, add this jar to library. Then the rest process is same. Prepare statement, connection, and result set. All the data, all the names will be same as per how we have done in MySQL. So if no queries, we can start mobile testing now. So database testing with Selenium, it's no Pallavi, it's not covered here. So normally DB testing, I mean with Selenium, we don't have any such use case. If you're coming up with any use case, we'll definitely do with simple example in our next session. So any queries before we go to mobile testing? So you mean to say you are checking about procedures, executing procedures, and checking whether the data type has been, all the data field names has been arrived or not, in what response time it is arrived. The type of database testing you're doing, or okay. So it's something like we can do like this. We can take this as assignment, guys. I can help out if you're not able to do this. So we have a feature data table, right, for Flipkart registration. So we have two values here in the feature file. So let's wait for a second. It's not responding. So yeah, only data from tables. So yeah, definitely we can do that. So I'll just give you overview like how you can perform that. So now in select we are getting this data, right, through result set. So what was the project? DB example select. So you are printing your result set here, right? So this is the data which is available from your database. Now you need to validate this data with against any other data tables like Excel sheets or whatever it is. So you can just write a simple Java if else conditions, read the Excel sheet. So you already know how to read the Excel sheet using Apache POIs. So just give me a sec, guys. Some beep sounds are coming continuously. Yeah. So we can. So once your result set is written, so set this into an object and read an Excel sheet. Let's say your data is in Excel sheet, something like that. So we have seen how to read your Excel sheet here in PYM by using PYM in data-driven model. So now after reading this one, compare both the object arrays, whether the database values as well as the values which you are comparing is both same or not. Okay. So create your Excel sheet also similar to your database table. So, is it clear, Pallavi? So let's say if you want to validate your database data, what you are getting here with any third-party libraries or with third-party data which is having in Excel sheets or JSON files or XML files. So for Excel sheet, you know how to read, right? So it's like Apache POI, where you will be having your POI libraries going to XSSF workbook. Once you read everything, then you will have the data in array list. Just use normal Java methods to compare. If data dot contains or equals ignore case like that, and we can check this one. So any other queries before we start mobile testing? Before mobile testing, I'll just show you what are the setup requirements, guys. So just make sure that you have all this ready with you, downloaded with you, so that you will be able to work along the sessions. So Android SDK, which can be downloaded from developer.android.com. So I will share this Excel sheet in Drive. So you can go there, download all the required softwares. So even there is no mobile automation setup in this mission. I have downloaded all the softwares. I will do the setup directly in the session, so that if any issues I'm facing, we can solve in the session, and it will bring you more clarification and knowledge to set up the tool from the scratch. Okay. So these are the required softwares. Android SDK, Eclipse, we already have this, so no worries about this one. So then JUnit and TestNG frameworks we already have. Java we have. Excel we have. So jar files, I will tell you what jar files we need to download. It's you can get it very simple. So mobile devices that you need to make sure that you have by your own for practice. So then browsers we will be already having. So APM for Windows. So this can be downloaded from apm.io. And .NET Framework 3.5 or higher, you need .NET Framework just to install this APM server, but you will be not writing any .NET code and all. So then admin access to your missions, because you will connect your USB. Sometimes you might work with admin options like setting environment variables like this. So make sure that you have admin access and USB access. Then some driver softwares, let's say some mobile devices. So there are a lot of vendors in Android, right? Like Samsung, Sony, MI, like this. So sometimes when you connect the mobile device, it will directly not